Hello everybody, and welcome to another semi-formal video essay. Now, I made this video essay as a little buffer between, the ones I'm actually throwing my back into. But this video essay is just for people. I realize that some people aren't as invested in Attack on Titan as I am. Well, as I was, right? And so when I'm complaining about 139, some people just don't really understand why it's such a big deal, right? Some people think it's a good ending because they weren't as deeply invested in the series as I was. Right? We're going on 9 years of me reading this. We're going on 9 years. So I just thought up, hey, maybe I'll just reach out and make analogies between other series. Because maybe you're not neck deep in Attack on Titan. Maybe you're just like ankle deep, So here's a few other series that maybe you're more invested in so you can really just understand how baffling and confusing and weird 139 makes the rest of Attack on Titan. Now, I've been quoting them a lot. But Anime Balls Deep literally puts it best. Chapter 139 becomes the skeleton to the rest of the story. So there is no way to go back and watch the beginning of the series without thinking about 139 because it becomes the literal skeleton. And in doing so, it changes the meaning of most of your favorite scenes throughout the whole series. Thus, it just makes a new story. Somehow chapter 139 changes the entire story, right? And I make a video about which specific scenes that chapter 139 dilutes, if not renders completely obsolete. You can check that out. It'll be in the cards. And just for your own viewing convenience, or I guess listening convenience, there are timestamps in the description box. So just for framework's reference, right, just to give you a bit of framework, first I'll be talking about Death Note. I'll be making some analogies. Then I'll be talking about Code Geass. I say Geass. I know it's Geass. I don't care. Get used to it. And then I'll talk about Harry Potter. And then I'll talk about Game of Thrones. Because I can only speak on animes and, shows that I've seen, that I was semi-invested in, And yeah, so that's just how that's gonna go. And you can go to the description box for timestamps. Anyways, without further ado, let's get on with the video. Part 1, Death Note. Now, Death Note was Death Note was the first anime I've ever watched. I watched Death Note, I was 11, guys. Death Note, spectacular. It's revered as one of the greatest animes of all time. It's hard to find plot holes. It's probably impossible, honestly. It's just so brilliantly curated. But imagine if it wasn't. Alright. Imagine Light Yagami didn't really want to be the god of a new world. Just really think about that. Imagine if his entire motivation wasn't actually the fact that he wanted to be the god of a new world. Imagine he was either being controlled by the Death Note or Ryuk. Imagine he began killing criminals only because he had the power. In other words, he didn't truly believe that they should die, just because now he has the power. Imagine that's why he starts killing criminals. Imagine the Death Note wanted criminals dead, so it influenced Light the whole series. Or imagine Ryuk, instead of just being bored and watching Light kill criminals, he was influencing him to kill criminals the whole time for his own personal vendetta. Imagine Light Yagami... Oh, this is a good one. Imagine Light Yagami actually loved Misa Amane. And it was a deep, selfish love where if she flirted or had another boyfriend or anything after he died, he wouldn't be able to accept that ever. Imagine all of that, but imagine finding that out the last episode of Death Note. Imagine finding all of that out the last chapter of Death Note. Light Yagami didn't actually care. He didn't want criminals dead. No, that was Ryuk. Ryuk wanted criminals dead. He wasn't actually bored. He was lying to you the whole time. Ryuk wasn't bored. Ryuk wanted criminals dead, so he drops his death note, and his death note and himself influence Light Yagami the entire series to kill criminals. Light Yagami never wanted to be the god of a new world. He just wanted... I don't know. He didn't even know what he wanted. He didn't even know. I guess you'd have to be Ryuk to know. Only Ryuk knows. Let me set the scene for you. It's the last episode of Death Note. Light Yagami has been shot up by the police, and he's limping away. And he's, that scene is fucking hilarious. But yeah, he's limping away, and he's limping to those stairs that he dies on. And then he dies. But hey, he can't actually die, right? A user of the Death Note can't actually die. So he goes to the Shinigami world, where he encounters Ryuk. And he goes out kicking and screaming. He opens up to Ryuk, I just want to be with Misa. Oh, I just want to be with Misa so badly. I don't want to die. Now, we've seen more evidence in Death Note that Light loves Misa than we get evidence in Attack on Titan that Eren loves Mikasa romantically. Now there's the kicker, romantically. We know Eren holds Mikasa in very high positive regard, which even that could be debatable. But yeah, I would say that's what I got from his relationship with her. You know, like Isayama said, it's the relationship of a mother, you know? Carla dies and she kind of takes the mother role for Eren. Actually, she always took the mother role for Eren. You know, whenever he'd get into fights, she'd come through and save his ass and lecture him, hey, stop fighting. But even as I say that, it's so unbelievable that Light Yagami would say that in his dying breath, even though we get more breadcrumbs that he likes Misa more than we get from Attack on Titan that Eren loves Mikasa. Now, obviously, I know that's because he was using her the whole time, but come on, we get hugs, we get freaking words of affirmation. We don't get any of that from Eren. Besides, I'll wrap that scarf around you as many times as you need, which I already debunked that. If it was him and Armin in that exact same scenario, he would have said to Armin, hey, we're not gonna die here. I'll read that fucking book to you as many times as you need. We're not dying here, right? So then, you know, does he like Armin romantically? Answer is no. Like, damn, my man Eren went out. He even got to hold Armin's hand and never did anything with Mikasa. But yeah, just going back to Death Note, imagine this series ignoring all the important themes of human nature and power's influence on behavior and psychology, and it copped out for a stupid love story between Misa and Light because people shipped them so much. Oh, you're such a cute couple. Barbie and Ken. So Death Note works because we get this kid, Light, right? Light is set up as an average kid with everything, right? He's arrogant. He's good looking. His dad's a cop. He has this god complex already just because he has everything, you know? When he gets the power of the Death Note, his next actions align perfectly with his ideals. I'm superior. Oh, these criminals are lowlives. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna kill the criminals. I have the power. Why not? No one can catch me. It's hands off, hands free. I'm gonna kill criminals. I'm gonna be the god of a new world where there's no crime and no criminals. I get to say who lives in this world. Me. I'm smart. I'm at the top of my class. And the ending works because we get nothing that retcons that at the end. Nothing strips anything away from Light Yagami's character, from his agency, from his convictions, his ideals, his morals. He dies the same way his character was brought to life. Part 2, Code Geass. Geass. Code Geass is an anime I watched actually pretty recently. I watched Code Geass in the last 2 years, I believe. It could have been 3 by now, I don't know. But I recently watched Code Geass. I know that's gonna piss some people off. I recently watched Code Geass. Geass. What? It doesn't matter. Now, Code Geass is another one of those animes where it's highly revered, highly praised of being one of the greatest animes of all time. And that's not by coincidence, guys. In order to have an anime be revered as spectacular, your protagonist has to be so compelling that it leaves a mark in the readers, right? And that was Attack on Titan. That was, until the retconning, obviously. But right now, we're talking about Code Geass, right? Let's talk about Lelouch Lamperouge. Imagine, for 1 second, that Lelouch Lamperouge didn't actually care about the Japanese people. Imagine he just didn't really know why he wanted to fight for them. Imagine he didn't actually care about the weak and the gentle being preyed upon by the strong. By the way, did anyone else notice that this is Mikasa's whole character line right here? This is taken directly from Code Geass. The strong devour the weak. As I was saying though, imagine Lelouch didn't actually really care about the Japanese people, but instead he only cared not about the Britannian people, but only cared about the people of the student council. The guy with the hair, Shirley, Callan, and is someone else I'm missing? I don't know. The Emily or whatever her name was, the blonde hot girl. Imagine he didn't care about anybody except those 4 or 5 people. Imagine if he did everything he did in the series just so the student council could live long, happy lives. Imagine finding out that that was his motivation the entire series, and finding that out the last episode. Finding that out the last chapter of Code Geass. That was his motivation. Now, that would retcon one of my favorite scenes in the entire show. It is that scene during that one battle where Nunnally gets kidnapped. And he's like, y'all can go fuck yourselves. I'm gonna go save my sister. Remember that scene? They're all fighting and they're like, Zero, come in, Zero. What do we do next? What's the next move? No answer. Because he's like, oh snap, my sister's been kidnapped. This is why I'm doing everything I'm doing, to create a world gentle enough for her. And if she's not alive, there's no point. Forget it. That is my favorite scene in the entire show. Now, having that, just at the end, finding out just now, he didn't actually care about the Japanese people. He didn't actually care about creating a nice, peaceful world. He just wanted the student council people to live long, happy lives. That would make that scene shite. That would make that scene obsolete, and that would make it so that Lelouch was lying to the audience the entire time. Now, you tell me if that was true, if you'd be able to watch this series the same way. Would it have the same rewatch value? Knowing that he was lying to you about his motivations the entire series. It wasn't about Nunnally. It was about the people of the student council living a long, happy life. Imagine that all of his actions as Zero didn't line up with his actual philosophy. And imagine that in his ruse to unite the entire world against him, it was only for the sole purpose of getting the student council to live long, happy lives. Most damning of all, imagine the series ending with Lelouch accomplishing absolutely nothing. Perhaps he accomplishes giving Callan a long, miserable life. Perhaps he accomplishes giving the Japanese 10, 15 more years of oppressive life, forever in fear of retaliation for whatever you can compare to the rumbling, I guess, in this story. Imagine that's all he accomplishes, which, let me just tell you, isn't an accomplishment at all. How would you feel if a surgeon told you, hey, I got most of the cancer out of you. I extended your life by 2 months. Most of the cancer's out. You get bit by a snake. Oh, I sucked most of the poison out. I mean, you're still gonna die once it reaches your heart, but some of it's out. Any plan accomplished halfway is not accomplished. Any goal partly finished is not finished. Any vision partly realized is not realized. Now, to connect this back to Attack on Titan a little bit, right? Imagine Lelouch giving his life, leaving Nunnally, the only person he can and loves, for a plan that he felt earlier in the series would never work. Would never work. Imagine that the only reason he cared about the Japanese people was because of his Geass power. His Geass. Guys, I can't say it. Now, I didn't take notes on this, but I was just thinking about this, like, right now. What Zero is to me in Attack on Titan is Chad Aaron. Right? What's his name? Lelouch literally puts on this mask and becomes this other person to get his goals accomplished. He needs to put this mask on so he can accomplish his goals. And that's exactly what Aaron does when he, quote, becomes Chad Aaron, which isn't him becoming anything. It's just his character progression, you know. He puts his feelings on the back seat, right? So he can fulfill his duty. Same with Lelouch. I'm pretty sure Lelouch would have loved to, like, bang Callan or something, or Cece or anything. He wanted to live just like everyone else, right? But he had a duty to do. He had a duty, and he served his people. He stayed true to his character. He had proper character development as he began to care about Callan and other people and stuff, and the student council. He just had everything, and that's why he's revered as one of the best protagonists of all time. In Code Geass, when he kills Euphemia, it was heartbreaking, right? It was heartbreaking. He was like, oh, well, I can't argue with that. This is what would serve Nunnally best. Me getting together with you, Euphemia. But after he uses the Geass on her on accident, he kills her. He kills her. Now, did he want to kill her? No, he did not. Not at all. Would he have preferred if she lived? Yeah, of course. But his duty required that he killed her. And I think the same goes for Aaron in the A&R ending. His duty requires that if his friends aren't on board with being saved and they're gonna go up against him, they have to pay the price. Regardless of the fact that he would like for them to live long, happy lives, his goal was to free his people. Because what is happiness without freedom, right? His ultimate goal is freedom. Why Code Geass works so well, why Lelouch is revered, rightfully so, as one of the greatest protagonists of anime history. I can only guess that it's because his character stays consistent throughout the entire series. He's set up as a character who's very, very mission-based and intelligent, right? That is how he can set aside his worldly desires, you know, pleasure, being with loved ones, etc., so on and so forth, to fulfill his mission. And that is exactly what he does at the end of this series. His character is consistent, and there's no inner monologue lying to us. What he's thinking reflects what he's thinking, and he acts accordingly. And to be honest with you, I can't even believe that needs to be said. I can't believe that's something that needs to be appreciated. We've taken advantage of that. You know, the fact that a character stays consistent and stays true to their character by the end of the series, that's something we have to appreciate now and not expect. Chapter 139 just really changed the game for me. Part 3, Harry Potter. Alright, so this is obviously a non-anime example, but, you know, maybe other people would like to understand why the anime world, the SNK fandom is so, I guess we're niche, I don't know, maybe we're not, why we're so upset over 139. So Harry Potter fans, I gotcha, listen up. So many people died for Harry, right? So many people at Hogwarts gave their life for him. And we can't even exclude his parents from that. His parents gave their life for Harry. Now, what if by some magic, by some spell, it was Harry that led Voldemort to kill his mom? To set the entire story in motion, or to motivate him to master wizarding. Imagine if all the themes of sacrifice, family, friendship, revenge, facing your fears, teamwork, death, honesty, and loyalty were all scrapped, and the final battle wasn't Harry versus Voldemort, but instead some decision Ginny made, or something, What if the conclusion to the series, Harry Potter, named after Harry himself, what if the conclusion to a story called Harry Potter was a decision, a choice made by the love interest, made by Ginny? The conclusion of the story Harry Potter comes as a consequence to what Ginny Weasley decides. Imagine, despite all the obvious foreshadowing, the freaking words Voldemort says, quote, "I am looking for Harry." Imagine the entire time, no, you're wrong. Voldemort was looking for Hermione. Or get this is even better, guys. Get this. What if Ron turns on Harry? He can assume a lot of people are going to die at Hogwarts. So in order to save them, who those people never really liked him anyway, right? Because he's a poor Weasley, right? Imagine he bands together with them and chooses them over Harry, and he sells Harry out to get killed by Voldemort. Imagine that. Now, I said this in another video, but remember when Harry, Hermione, and Ron go out killing the Horcruxes, right? The pieces of Voldemort's soul that are spread out through the whole world or whatever. Imagine they only killed 80% of those. Imagine they were like, this is good. We'll just weaken him, and then he'll stop maybe. We'll give Harry a fighting chance by just weakening him, and we'll just stop there. 80%. Imagine the series ending that way. Hey, Voldemort's still alive, and he could get stronger, and when he does, he will kill Harry. Hey, Harry's over here. He's fully intact. He just needs to work on his spells, and perhaps he may end up defeating Voldemort. Fingers crossed. Imagine the series ended like that. Is that a satisfying ending to you? Of course, with the 8 extra pages, we know that Paradise gets destroyed. So imagine you get an epilogue to Harry Potter that says, oh, by the way, all those people died for nothing. Voldemort gets stronger, and then he kills Harry. Just an epilogue. Tee-hee, thanks. They say Attack on Titan fans are toxic. Freaking Harry Potter fans would wring J.K. Rowling dry if she ended that series like that. They would put her through the ringer. Harry Potter works so well because we're introduced to this boy who doesn't know he's special. All he knows is that his parents died and he's living with his aunt and uncle. That's all he knows, right? And he doesn't know he's special. And he ultimately learns that he is special, and with being special comes this unfair target on his back by someone who hates him just because he was born. Sound familiar? Just because he's alive. After losing friend after friend, Harry finally stands up to Voldemort, and with the help of his friends, he's able to defeat him at the end. That's why Harry Potter works so well. The story is just good, and after sacrifice, there's payoff. He who sacrifices deserves all, right? That's just storytelling. That's just freaking karma. That's the way of life. Yeah, in Attack on Titan, Eren gives up everything. He sacrifices everything, even his own life. And it amounts to absolutely nothing. Now you can say, that's the Attack on Titan way. You do all you want, but still, just nothing will ever go your way, or, you know, no one, I don't think you want to send a message of that much morbidity, of human nature, of humankind. It's not that morbid. And then while characters like Annie sacrifice literally nothing and gets everything. She gets the guy, she gets her dad, she gets peace, she gets harmony, she gets everything. The morality isn't balanced in Attack on Titan with the way that it ends. Now the full rumbling was supposed to pay for the loss of life in Eldia, well, in Paradis. It was, but you know what we got, so. Part 4, Game of Thrones. So, Game of Thrones obviously needs no introduction, right? Well, I'm just gonna get right into this one. Imagine if Arya Stark was partially responsible, or knew that Ned was going to die when they went to King's Landing. Imagine something crazy like the Three-Eyed Raven was controlling Arya the whole time, right? The Raven was the one with the vendetta against the White Walkers, right? So they used Arya as a tool to kill them. Imagine if when asked why did she kill the White Walker King dude, Arya responded, I don't know. Imagine finding out in the last episode that every single decision Arya made in Game of Thrones was predestined and or controlled by the Three-Eyed Raven. Does that make her a compelling character still? No, it doesn't. You know, I could go at length about Game of Thrones, but I won't. Because this video, it turned into something else. Part 5. So, I can only talk about, you know, the animes I've watched, and the shows that I've watched, you know, that I've gotten invested in, because this is all coming off top, right? I didn't really freaking write anything down that much, other than bullet points. And it's from the top of my brain, right? I'm not going through these things again. Like, I didn't rewatch Code Geass to make this video, right? This is all coming off top. So, it's stuff that I was heavily invested in, which is why, you know, it's so good on the top of my memory. Feel free to add, that's what I want you to do. In the comments, please add, like, you know, the Naruto and the One Piece and the Batman examples, because I personally forgot all of those. Like, if Batman had killed his own father and became Batman because of that, you know, like, please put all of those examples in the comments. That's what I want the comments to be full of. Like, I want this video to, like, in the comments to just, I want the comments to be a resource. Just, like, straight up analogy after analogy. Please. Now, I'm gonna end this video talking a little shit as per usual. Attack on Titan was set up with it just opened a can of worms towards the end, right? When we get to the Marley arc, he opens the can of worms, racism, natalism, you know, just Holocaust allegory, child abuse. He brings up all of these dark themes, freedom and stuff like that. He brings it all up, and he doesn't, Isayama, wrap it up well or at all. He doesn't wrap up those things, right? He doesn't really make commentary about those things, besides the fact that humanity is doomed to repeat our pitfalls over and over and over again. And it's like, cool, but what are you saying about that? Like, do you get what I'm trying to ask? Like, what is his commentary on child abuse? What is his commentary on slavery? Because by the way Attack on Titan ends, I would assume that he thinks it's deserved. It's deserved. Ymir was the devil the whole time. Eren didn't know what he was doing the whole time, and he was being influenced by Ymir, the devil. So, in that case, the racism towards them was not, the stereotypes were correct, and the racism was deserved. So, is that the commentary he's trying to, is that his view? Because that's what it seems like. And in closing, I just want to bring up this other anime that I like a lot. Maid-sama. It's a shoujo anime. Let's imagine the reverse. Imagine you're watching Maid-sama, a shoujo about trust and allowing people to help you and being honest with yourself. Those are the themes that progress the story. Now, every conflict Misaki, not Mikasa, okay, Misaki Aizawa has relates to one of these things. Trust, honesty, allowing people to help her, right? Every conflict she has relates to one of those things in this shoujo, right? A shoujo is a series, just in case you don't know. I know you're not stupid, but just in case you don't know, a shoujo is a love story, basically. Lighthearted love story. Now, imagine in the last episode of Maid-sama, Uzui kills Misaki, and her little sister or something spends the rest of her life trying to avenge her sister. We get a bunch of time skips, etc., etc. In one episode, you turn a light-hearted comedic shoujo to a wannabe revenge drama. How good of an ending would that be? A complete tonal shift from the other 30 episodes you subjected yourself to, and a forced new plot from new information introduced in the last episode turns the series. Would that deliver any payoff? Would that wrap up any theme? You spend the whole series watching her learn to trust men just for her to be killed by the one she was finally opening up to? Would that deliver any payoff? Would you feel like you got a good or even any message out of that story? Would you feel fulfilled by that? And on top of that, you're watching a shoujo, not a revenge thriller, not a revenge drama series. So the tonal shift not only makes no sense, but it's not even the right genre. Like, is Attack on Titan, is it seinen or is it shonen? Or is it a comedy, a rom-com? It doesn't know. But I always talk too much at the end of this, so I'm just gonna leave this saying what I usually say. Retcon, retcon, retcon. 139, 138 are not canon to the rest of the story. Please read the fan-made ending, Aote no Requiem. It's great, it's beautiful, and it perfectly aligns with the themes that Isayama brought up with the Marley arc. And it's just how he was going to end the series in the first place. I'll leave links and stuff, yada yada yada. I just can't believe we spent this whole series of Attack on Titan to watch Eren become pretty much the Joker. Eren becomes the Joker. Actually, I take that back. At least the Joker has a mind of his own.